Hey, what's up? Good morning, everyone. How's it going? How's your Saturday so far? I'm gonna make a quick announcement and I'll be right. Jump right into the work. Okay. Announcement sent. Let's pop out the chat really quick. Put it over here. Gooshish. Hello, how's it going? How are you doing? Pull up my reference. What is the niche that the Tropio will have? Bodhi, if it's determined, of course. I think the general idea is that it will be pescivore, but with other capabilities of. It should be able to damage things with its teeth. I think. Honestly, that question is probably more suited to Furious, but that's as far as I know. I did do like some studies of its behavior on my concept art, and one of them has it like clinging to rock faces, diving down for fish. I do have one where it's like got like a flesh tear ability that it's swooping in and it like can grab the other dinos and do some damage. Basilius, look at them claws, right? Yeah, I'm a friend of mine showed me a way to be able to pack in more detail on the meshes that I'm working on by scaling them up in the ZBrush scene. So with that information, I am going to really go for it and get some nice detail in here that I otherwise probably wouldn't have been able to do. So we're gonna go through the hands and feet, get them nice and detailed, and then we'll assess what else we got to do. Gastonia, is Dracovenator going to stand a chance against things like Utah Packy and Geniodectes? Dracovenator. I mean, the goal would be to give everything a chance against everything, right? Like we're trying to balance everything. It may take some iteration to get that to work out correctly, and there's always like rebalancing and stuff that has to happen in these kinds of games. So I think, you know, we're gonna do our best to give it a shot, right? You don't want to play a dino and then to just have it completely get wrecked by everything. It should probably have its like weaknesses and better matchups and stuff for it, but You should feel like you're a capable creature. Amazing work, Mr. Bear DM. Amazing work, my friend. Keep it up. Thank you. Fox, how's it going? Hey. How are you doing today? Agadote, sorry if I'm messing up your name. Is the map mostly going to be dense forest and deserts, or will there also be savanna style grasslands? I think there's going to be a variety of biomes. You might, I don't know if Airsick has done a lot of streaming lately, but he would probably be the one to know more about like what's coming up or like what the goal is for the environments, because I don't work on environments. But I think the goal would be to have a nice variety of biomes. At least that's what I know so far. Fox, good, just being chased by octopus in species unknown. What is that? Is that I'm assuming it's a video game, but I've not heard of it. What is that? Sounds interesting. Me, I'm doing pretty well so far. The day has just started for me, so I'm still kind of, it's still to be determined, right? But but so far so good. Getting up in the morning, getting some work done early, always feels nice. One of the reasons why I like this stream is because it does force me to do that, right? Like, get up, be productive. It's a nice way to start a Saturday, because usually like Saturdays have a risk of kind of just becoming lazy, bum around days kind of thing. Where I just like lay down, oversleep, and like don't feel like doing anything. But the stream really helps me kind of jumpstart the day. I do wish I had my coffee. I ran out of coffee today. So I'm not pleased about that. It's a video game. It has a vibe like Alien Isolation, and it has co-op too. There are contracts, for example, kill specimen or extract data. Oh, that sounds pretty cool. I think that sounds like something me and my friends would enjoy playing. Is it like super spooky, like survival horror-ish? It's in early access right now. Okay. Joachim. Perfect. Watch stream and varnish my Astra Militarum. That sounds really good. I hope you make a lot of progress on that. Do you have many to do? Is it like your whole army that you got to varnish? It's spooky because the ship tends to be pretty dark in areas. Oh, that would be hilarious. Is it like submerged underwater? Because two of my friends are like deathly afraid of of the ocean. Like I think they have a bit of what's that phobia called? Man, it's thalassophobia. They have a bit of that going on. So it might be kind of funny to get them in there and watch them freak out. Sorry and hi, how's it going? Troops are pretty much done. I'm going to start on my tanks. Got 8 and 1 Baneblade to do. Oh wow. Well, cool. Yeah, I really envy people who have time to. I really wish I could find time to start an army. That'd be fun. I really love the like tabletop wargaming. I would really like to play, but I don't really have the bandwidth to accommodate it. It's a lot of commitment that requires. And like the thing about, I don't know if I'm very good at I can definitely paint like maquettes and stuff like that, but there's a certain size range that I'm comfortable with, and miniatures like that are very, very difficult for me. I think I lose patience very quickly with them, unfortunately. I did have a army of Tyranids for a while that I tried to paint up and get ready, but I never got around to it fully. I did decide on a paint scheme for them that I thought looked pretty cool. I wanted to give them like a lot of beetles and stuff have the like kind of like pearlescent sort of shells. I wanted to try giving them like some sort of color shift on their shells, like their carapaces. So I was trying to figure out how to accomplish that. I didn't get very far. Yeah, there's that aspect of it too. Like you don't necessarily have to play. You can just enjoy the models and painting and stuff and making really cool armies. That's also part of it. It's a spaceship though. Okay. A little flooded area with hostile species. I see. Okay. Hitman, hello, how's it going? Welcome in. Yeah, nids are complex as you want them to be. Yeah, I'm a huge creature guy, right? So I would want them to be fairly. Maybe I'm a little too. Maybe I was a little too ambitious. I don't have an airbrush though. That's something that I would like to get. I'm looking into that because I have a bunch of models that I want to 3D print, and I need a better way of getting primer and stuff on them and then actually painting them. They'd be bigger though. They would be like 1/35th scale dinos or something, or bigger. But that's not immediately happening. It'll be later. I do have a pretty nice new printer though that I'm looking forward to using a lot more. So far my tests have been pretty successful on it. It's a, oh man, the problem is the name of it is like not easy to remember or say. It's not like Elegoo or Anycubic, which is super memorable. It's called the Haygears Reflex RS Turbo something. I don't know. But it's a newer printer, and so far I'm liking the results that I've gotten off of it. It is a little bit different to use than some of the other printers I have had, because it's like all the company that makes it is like trying to push for like its own proprietary like ecosystem for all of their products. So you kind of have to learn their software and deal with their resin and all that stuff. So it's a little bit of a learning curve that I wish wasn't present so much. But the prints I have done are probably some of the best prints that I've ever gotten off a machine. So there is that. Is it FDM? No, it's a resin printer. All of my printers are resin. I do want to get an FDM printer. I haven't decided on what printer I want just yet. But I would like to get one. If I may ask, is EOE's Utahraptor going to be feathered? Most likely, yes. We are going for mostly paleo-accurate here on the models. Paleo-accuracy with a bit of exaggeration, but I don't think we're going to budge on the feathers. I mean, I'd have to confirm with Islander like 100%, but yeah, I really love the way that feathered raptors look. I think they look really cool. So my vote would be for feathers. Um, 8K, you're talking about the screen resolution? I believe it is. I'd have to double check. Avoid creality. Okay. Hitman, any Arabic? I do not speak Arabic. I saw your comment, yeah. Unfortunately, no, I do not speak Arabic, if that's what you're asking. Also, give me a moment, Hitman. Like, I'm not gonna... I have to work and watch chat at the same time, so I might not get to your comment immediately. So give me a... You gotta give me a chance here. Ostroraptor, I don't think I saw an Ostroraptor in the lineup, but I am also not entirely familiar with the lineup, so maybe I don't know. The lineup should be in our Discord somewhere for all of the species that we plan on having in the game. So if you want to hop in there and try and find that. You should be able to search and it'll probably pop up for you if you want to check that out. You guys are adding my favorite pterosaur. Take my money. Is your favorite pterosaur Tropeognathus, or do we have another one in the lineup that you are looking forward to? I'd have to think about what my favorite pterosaur is. I do like, I tend to like things with very elaborate like crests and stuff. So probably like Tropiognathus. Or I think now it's Tropeognathus. I think technically it's Tropeognathus now. And then like I really like Darwinopterus, sorry. Darwinopterus and Echondracos is really cool too. Nice, Blazin. Okay, cool. I'm glad that we're already working on Tropio right now then. Yeah, because we have a couple other pterosaurs that are going in, but they won't be in the works for a little bit. So I'm glad that we're getting your favorite guy in here soon. How many hours do you spend working on these models? So for a high poly model, just like the sculpting part, it's usually about I'd say like 60-ish hours, 50 to 60 hours I am estimating. And then like if we're adding textures and stuff like that, and if I'm doing all the textures and all of that stuff, then you would add another like 20-30 hours on it. So usually it's around like 80 total, depending. Like some are more complicated than others. If it has like lots of specific osteoderms, like an ankylosaur of some kind, or if it has feathers, you know, if it has like very unique things like that, very like unique scales, like the Purosaurus. Crocodilians take a while. So if it's like that, then it might take longer, but generally, like if we're talking about like a normal looking theropod, right? Or like a hadrosaur or something, it'll be around that amount of time. Yeah, speaking of ankylosaurs, if you want to see an example of an ankylosaur, I worked on Beast of the Mesozoic. Creative Beast Studios just announced for Beast of the Mesozoic the Spicomelus model. That's a model that I sculpted. So if you want to take a look at that, that would be an example of a pretty difficult dino to get completed. But it was very fun. I'm still praying that you'll be the one to do the Anki. Thanks. Yeah, I don't know where Anki is on the list of dinos, so. I mean, as far as like priorities, you know, like. I think next up on the list is either Pachycephalosaurus or Dinokairos. When am I done with this dinosaur? We still have a while to go on this. It's going to be, we have some more detailing to do. I have feathers to put on, and we got to do textures, so it's going to be a little bit more time on this. So I hope you guys like the Tropio. We'll probably take a break from sculpting in the next like stream or two. If we're still sculpting on it, that is, to do some colors. Just kind of get that going so that way it's ready by the time we get to texturing. I'm making a paper pterosaur model. Gonna start painting. Oh, that sounds awesome. If you would like to share photos, I'd be really interested in seeing how that is turning out, because I think paper making models out of paper is really cool. I actually follow there's a guy on YouTube who makes like entire action figures out of paper, and it's really interesting seeing his workflow. Some of like the thing that's crazy about them too is they're very like nicely articulated, like they have lots of range of motion. So it's really cool. I think some of his stuff could actually be translated into like plastic action figures fairly well. So it's really cool to watch his stuff. I can't remember what his name is though, off the top of my head. I don't think he's posted anything in a while. How many species do you think are going to be added before full release? I don't really know. I wouldn't be able to tell you, honestly. Trying to remember if you guys said you will be adding Allosaurus. Do you know if it's on the list? Is Allosaurus on the list? I think so, if I'm remembering correctly. Don't quote me on that. But I think so. There is, I remember seeing a silhouette of something very Allosaur-ish. So it could be maybe like something closely related, but I think it was Allosaurus. I should have, I think I get enough questions about that stuff that I should just have the roster on my screen at all times. That way I don't have to guess and potentially spread misinformation. I apologize if I gotten anything wrong about that, but I'm doing my best to remember. There's a lot of dinosaurs on there, so some of them are honestly like dinos. The thing that's cool about it is they're like kind of obscure. Like some of them are pretty obscure dinosaurs that don't get a lot of shine a lot of times. So that's really cool. But the downside of it potentially is that like I'm also not as familiar with them. So remembering them is a little bit difficult, but I'll do my best. Just kind of modifying the shape of the fingers a little bit. Maybe flattening out these toe pads just a bit so that they feel like they've been kind of worn down a little bit by many years of walking around. Another autosave. I think that looks better. It's much more, it's a lot cleaner than I would have been able to get before. I might do some more work on, let me see if I could find some references here. Oh no. Why is PureRef being weird? There we go. It was like not letting me pan around on the screen for some reason. We'll do some work on the hind legs, on the hind feet. Get some work done here. Make sure we'll save this right now. Okay. Am I referencing the fossil with preserved pterosaur hand scales? Not necessarily. Not directly. I'm just kind of inferring scales on the hands and feet. I did not know actually that is there a fossil with preserved pterosaur scales? Because if that exists, then I would really like to look at it. Recently published. Okay. I will definitely give that a look and see if there's anything I can apply here. Scales are really tiny. Let me see if I can do a quick search for that then. Make sure my computer doesn't crash. Hmm. I do see a lot of pterosaur footprints, but I'm not seeing anything specifically for scales. I see lots of like toe pad positioning, stuff like that. Oh, I see. I see. Yeah, they're pretty tiny. I think they're... What I can see on this like little leading edge, there's like a... I think it's on the bottom of the foot. I feel like they're like looking at my fingers, right? Over here. Comparing the length of the bones to what's on the reference image, I feel like these are fairly close to the scale that we have here in the images. They should be really tiny, especially if you see them like in relation to the rest of the model, because right now I have them popped out, right? So if I switch to like actual size, oh no. What happened? I'm gonna have to eyeball this back in. So if you see them in relation to the rest of the model, I feel like they're definitely pretty small. So I'd feel comfortable keeping them like this. But I do like the pattern that they have in here. It's very like pebbly. It's pretty cool. Thanks for mentioning that. I will definitely keep that up on screen while I work. I gotta... Okay, so... That is the home stage. I need to increase the size of this. Pretty big. Probably even bigger than that. Yeah. We'll set that as the target. Because my stager got a little bit messed up. So... Yeah, that'll work. We were working on the feet though, not the hands anymore. Got to get some kind of progress on the feet. So I'll make sure we're doing that here. So I was just looking at when I was searching for the scale impressions. I saw a bunch of like toe pad positioning, and like a ton of trackways. So I want to incorporate some of that. They have, so what I'm seeing here, the pterosaurs have like this huge heel like pad. That's pretty substantial. And then on each little digit, like the joints of each digit, they have a pad. Or at least that's what this reference showing. It seems like it varies between species, possibly, but it's giving a good ref for, I think, what I have here. I don't think we'd be able to identify or have specific trackways for Tropeognathus. I don't know how you would identify it to species, but I think this would work. So I'm gonna take this approach here. Where is my chat? Where is chat? Blazin, can't even begin to express how much I personally appreciate you taking into Paleo-accuracy. Yeah, no problem. I really enjoy doing all the research and learning about all this stuff. I learn new stuff about all the dinosaurs that I work on all the time. So it's a lot of fun for me, and I think it really adds to the experience, right? Because especially with games, it's a lot about like immersion and like suspension of disbelief, right? So the best way to do that, especially with a creature design, is to make it feel as real as possible. And the way you do that with dinosaurs is you gotta do the research and you gotta know the anatomy and all of that stuff, you know. You gotta try to do your best to incorporate all of it into the models, so that way they feel as realistic as possible and people can kind of get lost in the sort of fantasy of being that dinosaur or living in a world with them. So that's the goal. It has a really huge heel pad. What I'm seeing here. It's very strange to look at these feet because they almost look like, in certain parts, they kind of look like human feet. Yeah, it's also strange that the toe pads tend to be placed on the joints themselves and not, they're on the joints like right underneath them and not in between the joints like I would assume they would have been. So they do have an end, like a toe pad here at the end, but then they have kind of a space and then another toe pad. So I'm kind of, what I have currently on the model is not 100% correct for the placement of the pads. So I'm going to change that really quick. Most of their weight is distributed across the heel. Digits didn't bear much of the load. Oh, interesting. Okay, cool. Do you like realism in games? Yeah, I tend to enjoy more realistic games. I'm not like exclusively realism, you know? Like I do enjoy some stylization too. Especially if the art style is very compelling. Like I'm an artist, so of course I'm a very visual person. Like if there's lots of cool stuff to look at in a game, you know, it doesn't really matter if it's like super realistic or not. If it's got an interesting style, it will appeal to me, you know. So not always, but yes, I appreciate realism in a game. As Darkids have even more human feet, it's really trippy to look at. Oh, weird. Okay. Yeah, they do have like this weird kind of, maybe it's like what's the word? Convergent sort of evolution thing. Their torsos look kind of human to me as well. Similar thing happens with bats. Maybe it's just that their primary, you know, humans have big, wide, sort of flat torsos that we're kind of weird in that way. Like everything's kind of compressed. But maybe like something about flight evolves a similar sort of structure. Maybe humans were supposed to fly. Who knows? Wouldn't that be kind of a weird evolutionary turning point? I'm kidding, of course. Weapons should be added to humans. I think we do have weapons. We have spears and arrows and things of that sort. They're tribal humans. They're not I don't think they're super technologically advanced. It looks like they actually have, there's not a whole lot of it's not a whole lot of padding right here in this middle section. It's almost like they have an arch, a natural arch here. So I'm going to build up this pad even more. Well, that's not good. I think I had... we can fix it later. I think I had mirroring turned off, but we'll have to just duplicate this guy over to the other side. Should be a fairly easy fix because I don't want to redo this progress that we got here. Or I could smart resim it, see if that works. I'll do that on my own time though, because I don't want the stream to crash. That would not be good. As dark as like Quetzalcoatlus were primarily terrestrial, I see. Add tanks and helicopters to Echoes of Extinction. Yeah, I don't think that I don't think that will jive very well with the world that we're creating right now. Would not make sense. Yeah, I think including modern weapons and vehicles and stuff in a game like this makes things like pretty much impossible to. You'd have to take pretty huge leaps of like imagination, right, to get that to work. It becomes very like unplausible. Like I was just talking about like believability and like suspension of disbelief and immersion. I think if you do that, it becomes pretty immersion breaking, because then you're just wondering like how is this T-Rex like taking a you know, a missile to the face and still living? It doesn't make sense. -1, hey, how's it going? Thanks again for the donation. Hello all, how are you? I'm doing well, thank you. Ark's the game you're looking for if you want modern weapons in the game. Yeah, they have a ton of crazy stuff, right? But they set up their world that way, right? To make the crazy, like they've got dragons, they've got like alien stuff, they've got like crazy gods and elemental forces and all this, all this stuff that they've made part of their world. So they can kind of get away with that, introducing stuff like that. Whereas our game is much more grounded, I think. Fine, going to work in 2 hours. Okay. Well, are you gonna stick around for stream for a while? Be cool if you could watch. I hope you're doing well. I'm not sure if you've been able to catch like a whole stream in a while. As a kid, I absolutely loved Dino Riders. Such a cool concept they had going. Yeah, I'm not familiar with Dino Riders. As an 80s kid. Yeah, I'm a 90s kid. I'm familiar with Dino Riders, but they were not like what did I grow up? Of course, like Jurassic Park, huge part of growing up for me. Beast Wars were a big thing for me. What else? Power Rangers. I pretty much only really like the first couple seasons of Power Rangers. Like, as long as they have dinosaurs or like some kind of creature as their powers or like their Zords, I'm cool. But if they get like, I don't really like the seasons that they get like trains and cars and stuff. It's not really what I like. So that was huge for me. What else was there? Those are possibly like the big three for me when I was growing up. I don't think I had a lot of other like interests as far as like action figures or, I mean, there's a bunch of good TV shows like cartoons and stuff like that going on, but I never felt like super compelled to grab any like action figures or anything like that for them. Oh, Zoids was another one. That was pretty cool. I think the Dino Riders, like idea is kind of what we're working on for Cyberzoic. I think Dino Riders is definitely a huge inspiration for David from Creative Beasts. So a lot of that is going into Cyberzoic. I know David really loves Dino Riders. I'm not working on any. Well, I do the dinosaurs, of course, but like I don't do like the armor pieces or like the cyber armor attachments to the dinosaurs. That's a different artist. So if you're interested in Dino Riders aesthetic and vibe, I would check out Cyberzoic. Am I tired? It's pretty early for me, and like I said, I don't have coffee. Also, I think yawning is like, for me at least, it's kind of like a what do you call it? When I talk a lot, I have my jaw open slightly, and that for me at least is like a trigger for a yawn. Like I can yawn on purpose if I just slightly open my mouth and just let it like sit there for a second. Eventually it'll make me yawn. So that's kind of part of what's happening. Like, I don't know. I've talked about this a little bit. It's like, I'm not a huge talker. I'm a very quiet guy. I'm pretty introverted, pretty shy dude. So, me talking to you this much right here is like more talking than I do, throughout the course of probably the whole week. to like other people, so that's partially what's going on, but I am a little bit, it is morning for me. So I'm not a morning person. I am a late evening, nighttime person. Masters of the Universe, He-Man, Transformers, Dino Riders, Stargazer was my jam. Yeah, I have a little bit of overlap. Masters of the Universe, I remember a lot. Transformers, I have that overlap of Transformers and Beast Wars, a little bit. But yeah, the Dino Riders was completely, I had no idea about Dino Riders until I actually started working on Creative B Studio stuff, because David is such a fan. But it does look like cool stuff. Very I can understand the appeal for sure. It's interesting, like comparing like those kind of like the things people grow up with, and like kind of what impacts them. Kind of makes me wonder what people younger than me are into, like what has impacted their imaginations and like creativity most. I don't think I know many people that are, I mean, maybe some of you guys are in chat right now are younger than I am, but I'm talking more about like fellow artists. I wonder what their what they are impacted by. Arc is very Dino Rider-ish, yeah. I started buying Zoids again recently, trying to relive some of my childhood. That's awesome. I've actually been thinking about doing that as well. Some of the model kits are really cool. I used to have a couple. Like I had some of the simpler ones, like that I could get access to in my hometown because there wasn't like a ton of variety. But I did have a few. Like I had this really cool hammerhead shark. I don't remember the names of like the Zoids, like the units, you know. But I had this really cool hammerhead shark. I had a pterosaur, like a greenish pterosaur. I think I had like an iguana or something. Can't remember. But yeah, it would be really cool to get some new ones and see how they... I'm sure there's some out there that are like super nicely sculpted and super articulated and stuff like that I would really be interested in. Sebastian, hello, I'm French. Is it possible to play the demo? I think right now the tech demo is done. I think the only way for your people to get access to that is to be a Patreon member. I think. Quick make the introvert do live streams. Yeah. Yeah, I was talking about it a little bit last live stream too. I'm definitely like I can talk pretty confidently about like what I'm doing, you know, like here, because I know a lot about this. I know a lot about dinosaurs, about sculpting, all that stuff, but yeah, it can be, it's a skill that you have to practice. Like it's basically like a form of public speaking, right? Like how many, like I think last stream there was like 30 people or something in here, so that's a lot of people. If you were in a room with 30 people, and you had to like just stand up there and talk to them, you know, it could be probably pretty nerve-wracking. So, you know, it's a skill that you can practice and get better at. Fortunately, I have had quite a bit of practice. Like I've done demos and a little bit of like teaching. So that helps. And it also helps that it, you know, it's only for a couple of hours. Like it's not like a whole day's worth of like public speaking or whatever. So it's manageable. I do agree it's kind of funny. But hopefully, you know, the more and more I do it, the better and better I will get. So I already think personally that I've seen some improvement between like this stream and like the last, you know, the very first stream that I ever did. So I'm looking forward to just getting better and better at it. I think it's a skill. Like if you're an artist and you're very shy, doing your best to come out of your shell a little bit is very helpful. It's going to be very helpful in your career. It's very tough. I know it's very tough, but it will be helpful. How to train your dragon's good. That's a really cool that's pretty inspiring, right? It's a really well done movie, really good story. Visuals are awesome, design's awesome. So I would say that's a good one. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Joa. I appreciate it. Yeah, this is something I would say I would probably not be able to do even just, I don't know, a few years ago. It's honestly because I got a lot of experience working in front of people because I was an art director. And you kind of have to. Like it's the easiest way to communicate to people like visually what you're thinking. Like to critique people. So I would be in a lot of meetings where there were literally like people looking at me, and I would have to say, okay, we need to adjust this. This is how we got to do this portion. You know, I'd have to explain clearly, demonstrate what we need to do, and then get people going on stuff. So, I think that's also part of what kind of forced me to get better at it. Okay, I think I'm going to add... So I've been focusing on adjusting all these toe pads. I think they're in the right place right now. Okay, that looks a lot better. I'm going to start adding some wrinkles in here. I don't know if I'll be able to get to scales today, but wrinkles will be good. Elordus. Love how much detail you place into the models. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, trying to get them to look as good as possible. Love your game. Thank you. All right. So we'll get like a pass of wrinkles probably on this. So mostly with this brush, but I'll probably have to do some hand sculpting in there. Anyone see the new, I think a couple of new dinos discovered this week, or at least they were announced. There was some sort of iguanodontian, some sort of iguanodon relative with little spines on him. That was pretty interesting. I haven't had a ton of time to like look into that just yet, but I need to take a look at what exactly was discovered. But that opens up like a whole new sort of avenue for I guess like hadrosaur skin, or at least iguanodon and its relatives. How long? Is that the name of the dinosaur? I think they were like quills. Yeah. Exhibits spike-like structures on its body. I noticed webbing between the toes. Does that mean Tropeognathus will be fairly aquatic? Yeah, it's gonna be diving for fish. Probably like skim feeding too. I think. But we do want it to have like some sort of better propulsion underwater. So I think that's why we're doing the webbed feet, to visually like reinforce that. Murder duck Tropio. Yeah, that's basically what it is, right? No, we already have a Spino planned. We already have a concept for the Spino that I did a while ago too. So that is already on the schedule. Reiner, I really love what you do. Thank you. I'm glad that it's interesting. Yeah, I really enjoy being able to sculpt these guys for you and see them come to life in the game, you know. It's a really, really cool feeling. Nah, I feel fine. I mean, you gotta take stretch breaks periodically when you're working. I should honestly be more diligent about my stretch breaks, considering how much time I spend hunched over my tablet like this. Thank you, Blazin. Yeah, I'm trying to push myself a lot. I'm super critical of my own stuff. So I tend to always see like where things need to get better. It can be a little bit like, it can be a good and bad thing, right? Like self-critiquing like that. But I'm trying to be more constructive with myself about that sort of thing instead of just like being overly critical. And I think it's helping me to like push areas of my work where I would just really like to improve. So I think if I keep practicing that sort of, I guess it would be like just like a mental shift, not being so like down on things, but just trying to say, okay, that's an area that I can work on. I think it'll result in some much better progress. But yeah, I'm trying to really elevate the models that I do, and I really want the models that I do for Echoes to look really nice, for people to enjoy in game. So what am I working on right now? I'm working on Tropeognathus. I'm working on the feet that are like gigantic at the moment, but I can put them back where they're supposed to be. So this is the Tropio for Echoes that I'm working on right now. Yeah, I guess we can do like a quick overview. We got this area that I was just working on that I need to wrap up. The hands we were just working on got lots of detail. Yeah, I'll give you guys a quick look at how he looks right now. Let me turn this. If you're just jumping in. Reiner, do you find coding difficult or something you've grown accustomed to? I want to learn even though I'm young. So Reiner, I don't do coding. I'm a 3D artist. So I do sculpting and, well, I'm a 2D artist as well. So I do sculpting and concept art and all that stuff. I don't code really. I mean, I have done coding like a very, very long time ago. I wouldn't say I'm very good at it at all. I find it pretty hard. My brain doesn't work that way, like, or maybe it does and I just need to work harder at it, but I didn't have a ton of success. I'll say that. And getting that to work. I am interested in it. I do want to learn more about coding because I eventually would like to make a game, and coding is like the biggest barrier for me to doing that right now. Because I feel like, I mean, I can definitely make models and stuff for it, but I just would need to learn how to get it to work right, So I cannot speak to that, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, if that's what you're interested in, that's what you want to go and do, I would say just go for it. And there's lots of ways to start learning stuff. There's lots of free resources. I'm guessing, right? If it's anything like art and design, there's probably lots of free resources for you out there to get started. Lots of tutorials. I would just jump in and start learning. You don't really need to wait for anyone to do that. You can just get going if you want to. Paleo media needs more artists like you because it's generally frustrating how often accuracy is ignored for the cool factor. Yeah, I don't know. Do you feel like, do you have any like examples of like where you think that's most apparent, or like any like super egregious pieces of media that you think could have used more accuracy? I mean, I think I share your disappointment in a lot of stuff too. I mean, honestly, I kind of don't know why it happens so often, considering like how many very good paleo artists are out there. Like I know a ton of really good artists that could definitely like be hired to make these models. They could be hired to do consultations. They could be hired to, you know, do any like aspect of the workflow that would be needed on either like a movie or a documentary. But I really don't see them getting hired by those places, which is very strange, I think. Because for me, like if I were making a film or a documentary, I would want to hire the people that like know the most about a certain thing, so that way we have the highest level of, you know, quality that we can get on a model, or like an effect or whatever, what have you, you know. But it doesn't seem to happen. I'm kind of confused as to why the industry works that way. I have no idea. But yeah, I think I would agree with you. That some paleo media is lacking some good accuracy. I think accurate things can look cool at the same time as being accurate. I think some people equate accuracy to boring, and that's only if you do it wrong. You can definitely make accurate things look boring, but you can also make them look very cool at the same time, you know. It just depends on, depends on how well you're willing, or like how much time you're willing to spend, and just the execution of the idea, I think. It doesn't need to be one or the other. It doesn't have to be cool or accurate. It can be both. Oh yeah, I can throw a huge list, but a couple quick examples are Jurassic Park, The Isle, Path of Titans, let alone any documentaries that are just spread what essentially is misinformation. I see. I think for me, Jurassic Park, I think is definitely one. I mean, the first Jurassic Park film has kind of a little bit of a excuse, right? In that it was made in the 90s. It was kind of like in some part like a culmination of all the stuff that was happening during the what they call the dinosaur renaissance, right? There was still a lot of shrink wrapping prevalent. There wasn't like a ton of representation as far as feathered theropods in the fossil record. So they kind of have a little bit of a you can go a little bit easy on them maybe, but the subsequent movies are definitely, especially the ones now like Jurassic World stuff. I feel kind of bad because I have so many friends that are like so excited about Jurassic World and they want to see all the movies and all that stuff, but I just cannot. Like, I can't get over how weird the dinos look. Like, I understand they're supposed to be movie monsters and stuff like that, but I definitely think there could have been some sort of updating, some sort of compromise visually. I think majority of it is not the artists that are working on it. I think it's people higher up who are kind of afraid to deviate from what's worked in the past, because they ultimately they want to sell stuff. You know, they want to sell tickets to the movie. They want to sell toys. They want to sell, you know, whatever merchandise they want to profit from, and they don't want to take a risk on redesigning something and then not having it, you know, successfully drive sales for whatever product they want to have out there, you know. I think that's a big driving factor. I don't know really any artists who are just happy to just like copy stuff from like previous things. I think majority of artists working on these things would like to innovate, and they would like to you know, redesign or update things or like make things more feel fresh, new, exciting, but I just don't think they're allowed to very often. All right. Get some texture back on this. The top of the the top of the foot here. Oh, Blazin. I'm all for artists' interpretations, but at what point would an interpretation of a lion stop being? No, what I'm saying is, like, I feel like there's a lot of artists who would like to update the designs of, like, say, Jurassic Park to be more modern and more consistent with what the paleontology actually says. But the issue is that they're not allowed to do that because, you know, whoever it is making the, you know, calling the shots on the project is going to be more concerned about mass appeal and, like, if it's deviating from the original design too much, it'll definitely scare them and they won't want to budge. That's been my experience in stuff like this. I haven't worked on any, like, huge movies like that, but I have worked on projects where, like, there has been precedent of, like, they've had previous, like, content or, like, previous designs, and they people like that tend to be very especially if there's, like, lots of money involved, they tend to be very resistant to anything new. So, like, if you're talking about redesigning, like, the Jurassic Park T-Rex to make it look more like a real T-Rex, you're probably going to come up against a lot of resistance because people don't want to change stuff that makes them money, because they're too scared that it'll stop making them money. I agree with you about realistic animals being scary, but I think they definitely can as well. Yeah, it's just a weird way that our studios and, like, stuff like that is set up. And sometimes, like, the creative people and, like, the scientific people don't really get the biggest vote, you know, to get that across on screen, which is really sad. That's pretty much why, like, if you're really looking to have to see projects that are kind of going to hit that sweet spot for you, a lot of the times it is, like, more indie projects that are going to be able to do that because they have less of that overhead to deal with. It's usually, like, the people who are in charge, usually, not all the time, usually the people who are in charge are also the people who are helping to create the project also. But the problem is, you know, you get into indie stuff and you don't have the budget, you don't have the time, you don't have the manpower. There's a give and take to all of it. EBC, those textures looking really good. Thank you. How goes everything? Axolotl. Doing well. Doing well. Just moving through the model, trying to get details dialed in before I add some scales around here. I'm going to save really quick because I'm going to try and run a resim so that way I don't have to. It might not be worth it. I don't want to like crash the stream or like stall out the program because it's going to be pretty memory like hungry. So I'm not going to do that right now. I'll be patient and not push it. I'll just deal with the asymmetry. Okay, I need to finish off the wrinkles at least. So I'm gonna use a different alpha. Blazon, I guess for me right now, the biggest perpetrators are games like POT, Ark, and the Isle. Met a lot of people who seem to really only be familiar with these animals through them. Okay. I mean, I can see personally, I can see Ark being that way. I think the models on Ark are very kind of out there. Sometimes they're very out there. I don't like, yeah, I personally wouldn't say that aesthetic is like my, as far as like just being like visually appealing and accurate. I don't feel like those guys really hit the spot for me, at least. But for the other games that you mentioned, I don't know. I feel like, I mean, a lot of people that I know that work on those games really love dinosaurs, and they really, I guess they might not be aesthetically what I'm looking for all the time, but I feel like they at least get they at least make an attempt to make them more accurate than I think like a Jurassic Park would or Ark would. I think it kind of just depends on, I guess, I feel like it's for me it's more of an aesthetic thing than like saying they're not accurate. But I don't know. I feel like they do try. They are exaggerating stuff, of course. But then again, I'm also exaggerating a few things here and there on my models. Like the Tropeo, for example. Like Tropeo, a real Tropeo's teeth aren't this big. They are actually they're pretty, I check here. Can't remember how much bigger I actually made them. Yeah, my teeth are bigger than a real Tropio. At least like fossil Tropio has it. I have a bigger crest, you know. I'm exaggerating a little bit here and there for stylistic, you know, reasons. There's a little bit of push. But the thing is, like, having a strong foundation in real anatomy helps you do that in a way that is not visually like super off-putting, you know. It doesn't make you like, it doesn't like make you snap to that point and be like, oh, that's off, or that's not right, you know. It's not really the goal. I mean, if that's sure, I mean, if that's what you think, then that's fair. I mean, I will admit I'm not as familiar with, I know ARC stuff. I've seen ARC stuff, but I don't know exactly what the current, like, I don't know what's going on with the other two games right now. I don't know what models they have. I don't know who's working on them. I don't know like what the deal is necessarily, so okay. I did say, so I got totally distracted. I said that I was going to start dragging out a different alpha on here, and I totally did not do that. No. Wow, what is that? That's something different. We have an explosion. That's not good. I will have to figure out what is going on there. Something happened with the stager, I'm assuming. Because it's like splitting itself apart. Here's what I'm gonna do. Because I know we have a quick save. I'm just gonna go back to the quick save. Yeah, that's the weirdest thing that I have probably ever seen a model do in ZBrush. There we go. A little bit further back, but not too much. Let's save this. Make sure this is saved. I have no idea what I did. Like, I literally just swiped. I just swiped to clear a mask, I think. And then it got super angry. Let me, I'm gonna make sure, I'm gonna delete that stager stuff really quick. Because I think that's part of the problem is the stager. It's super useful, I really like it. But like anything with ZBrush, like, it probably has like some quirky, like, you know, like with layers. I really like using layers and like, because it gives you a lot of flexibility, but there's some stuff with layers that is just like, I guess buggy would be the word for it. Just some stuff that doesn't work like you think it should work. And then it'll cause issues like it'll mess up your textures, it'll mess up your poly paints, it'll like, yeah, it'll just do random stuff. So stager's probably like that also. So now that I know that, I'm just gonna have to be more careful about using it. Okay. I think I am nearing the end of the stream, everybody. You got 2 hours in. We are pretty much close. We're close to done with this wrinkle pass on the toes and feet. We like reconstructed all the, or like redid all the toe pads and all that stuff on the feet here. We're just missing some scales is all. And then we will be moving on to something else. Like I said, probably in the next couple of streams, I'll be jumping into some color. We'll do some color studies. Get some skin ideas going for Tropio. What else can we do? We're gonna have to start working on the feathers. All that good stuff. So, yeah, as far as I know, we will be good to go on Wednesday for another stream. Also, if you guys are interested, I am doing another live stream on Monday for my own channel. It's links in the description of the stream. I'm working on a bunch of personal creature designs that I want to wrap up. I want to get finished. And the current one that I'm working on is a Avatar inspired creature design. I actually have it here. I was working on it late into the night last night. This is the guy that I'm working on my streams. If you guys want to come and check out some non-dinosaur stuff that I've got in progress. I'll be live at 6 p.m. PST on Monday. I'll announce things on my Blue Sky, and you'll see it scheduled on my YouTube channel if you want to come and check it out. Thanks everyone for popping in today. And I'll see you in the next few streams. Okay, bye-bye.